Hello bros, finally Psyduck has been released, so Psyduck strikes again. So let's talk about first the passive ability of Psyduck, which if the enemy Pokemon hits you, you will gain an increased movement speed, just like this. You have an increased movement speed, which makes, and also it has a cooldown. Look at the bar indicator there. If it is up, you will gain again a movement speed just like this. And if the enemy Pokemons hit you, your headache gauge will increase, and this makes Psyduck all abilities will become boosted, and there's a blast attack damage in there. And your passive is one of the things that you need to keep in mind because it is a powerful ability or tools of Psyduck. So here I got the full headache gauge again, and it will increase all my abilities just like that. And next is the confusion. So the confusion will leave the enemy hindrance. So just like this, if I hit this Sableye, he will have an hindrance effect, just like that. He cannot attack, or he just a mini CC of Psyduck. So it is one of your tools for last hitting abilities. And the next abilities of Psyduck is the Tail Whip, which is the Tail Whip will lower the SP defense of your opponent and also lowers the movement speed of your opponent, which is a great tool for killing your opponents off guard. So as you've seen here, it lowers the movement speed and also it lowers the SP defense of Sableye, as you've seen like that. So that's one of the basic moveset of Psyduck. So now let's talk about its surf. The surf is that when you use the first surf, it will apply a slow effect to your opponent, and if you use again the surf, it will show down your opponent just like this. The first surf and the second surf will push your opponent. So remember that you can push your opponent if you applied slow effects in your opponent. So here you will see that if I apply the tail whip, which is, as I've said earlier, that the tail whip will slow down your opponent and decreases his SP defense. So here I apply the slow effects, and this will push down the opponent. So again, the surf can push down the opponent if there's a slow effect indicator in it. So that's why when you doesn't use your tail whip or just using the surf, the first surf will just apply the slow effect, and the second surf will show down the opponent. So the next ability of Psyduck is the disable, which is one of the cool things that Psyduck can do because it's stuns the opponent, and also it lowers the first move cooldown. So let me explain this here. When I use the disable to the opponent, the ability that he used will have a higher cooldown. So I repeat, it will have a higher cooldown, and this ability is so cool because it bounces up to 5 times here in this opponent. It will bounce 5 times, and it will go back to the original only 2 times. So if there is no one, like 2 opponents, it will just 2 times tap to that opponent. But if there's too many opponents, it will just bounce to the entire team. So just like that, it will bounce, and this makes the opponent cooldowns of their ability has a high cooldown. But the ability that has a high cooldown is the ability that they used or first used into you. And if the opponent doesn't use any ability, just like here, they didn't use the ability that they will use to you will have a high cooldown, which is one of the most insanely things that Psyduck can do. So now, next is the Unite move of Psyduck, which is the coolest thing because it will charge up, and this will increase half of your headache gauge. So it is one of their starting tools in order for you to have the headache gauge and have all the boosted of your abilities. So as you've seen, it will charge up and have a 50% headache gauge, and now I am full because I use 2 times in a row when using the Unite move. So it is like a start indication for you in order for you to have a headache gauge, which is a pretty good and pretty bad things using the Psyduck because it is so cool of this Pokemon. So the next ability that we will discuss is that when you have the headache gauge, and this will improve your moveset just like the surf and the disable. And also take note, bros, that your Unite move is level 8, which is one of the coolest things of Psyduck. And now let's discuss the headache boosted of Psyduck. So here, as you've seen, is my Unite move, and I have a 50% headache gauge, and I will use again. And I have the 100% headache gauge, which is things. So when you're using the surf, bros, there's a 2 surf will come out to the opponent. So just like that, there's 2 surf in it. So remember that I told earlier that if you use the first surf, it will slow down the opponent. So logically here, there's 2 surf, right? So the first surf will slow down the opponent, and the second surf will push the opponent. So the 3 surf will just push the opponent. Total of 4, right? So that's a logical way. First surf slow, and the other rest will push down the opponent. And also take note, bros, when you use the disable in a, if you use the disable, I mean the disable, yes, in the full headache gauge, it will bounce 10 times, bro. Like 10 times using the disable, it will bounce to the opponent, which is pretty cool thing. Just like that, look at that, bro, it bounces 10 times. It is one of the insane things that Psyduck can do, and also it increases more their cooldown abilities, and it is one of the insane things that Psyduck can do. And it is also one of the utilities. And also, if the opponents are in your surf, bro, it will increases their movement speed also. It is so fun to play this Pokemon, and I can guarantee you that this will become meta because it has a lot of abilities that is useful for team fights. And also the Unite move, the damage of it is really pretty good, and the disable is one of the most broken things because it will hide the cooldown of the opponent, which is one of the cool things in this game. Just like the lower cooldown Pokemons, they cannot spam their ability now because the disable will just give them a higher cooldown. So Psyduck has no boosted attack, bros. So as you've seen, he just have a basic attacks. And the cool part of it is it really has a high damage. And now let's talk about the other moveset of Psyduck. The next ability of moveset of Psyduck is the Bubble Beam. So if you use the Bubble Beam to your opponent, there's a 3 bubbles in it, indicator that if you hit one of your attacks in the Bubble Beam, it will pop and has damage, just like this. 1 pop, it has 1 damage. 1 pop again, it has another damage. So your ally Pokemon is also can do it. They can pop your bubbles, which is one of the cool mechanics of Psyduck. And also when you hit all the 3 of your bubbles, just like this, they have a mini stun, just like this. 1, 2, 3, and it has a mini stun on it, which is one of the things that Psyduck support can do, and it deals also a lot of damage, and also it is a very good in team fight also. The next ability of Psyduck is the Sidekick, which is one of the Gardevoir's tool. So the one problem is that it has a high amount of channeling, just like this. As you've seen, it has a high amount also of channeling, and after you hit the Psychic, bro, you can pull either one of your choice. So just like I hit this, and I either move them outward or inward. It depends on you of what strategy you will do. If the opponent is tanky, you can just move them backward, and if the opponent is the attacker, you can just move them inward in order for you to kill the opponents very faster. And it is so fun. Also, fun fact, it is so good also because it has a mini stun and also hindrance effect, and it is one of the cool things. But the sad part is it has a small amount of range. It lacks range, and also the circle of it is just, or the area of surroundings is also small, and also the channeling of the ability is also small. So It is a high skill, and also you really need to accurately hit this in your opponent because it will become useless if you don't hit it. So next, let's talk about it's boosted when your health gauge again, headache gauge is full. So let's fill this up. Fill this up again, and now I have the headache gauge. So the head movement ability of Bubble Beam will just increase the damage, and also it will increase the hindrance. It just really increase the damage of your pop-up when you are using the Bubble Beam. So you really need, so it is just like a mini attacker version of Psyduck, and it is also good because it has an hindrance effect. And next is the Sidekick. The headache gauge when full. So let's refill this. So the headache gauge when full of Psychic is, it has a hindrance effect if you pull your opponent, just like this. If I pull this, it has a hindrance effect, right? But if there's no headache gauge, it has no hindrance effect when you pull the opponent, just like this. I pull him, so there's no hindrance effect. So that's the difference if you have the headache gauge of Psyduck. So that's all, bros. Thank you, bros, and I hope we reach 20 likes again, and like and subscribe for more type of this content. Thank you, bros, and stay hydrated as always.